All right, so this is our quiz review. We will do a quiz next time. This is a review on everything we've done so far this unit. Yeah, let's start with the word problems because honestly, they tend to go better. So let's start with the easier ones. I'm going to flip over and write on the back of this where it's blank so that I have a little bit more room. We're going to draw a picture starting with number 4 here. What is our picture going to be? Yep, a right triangle. So it's like that's what it's going to be. Just go ahead and draw a right triangle and then we'll start trying to like read it and fill in what's going on. Okay, so let's read. We're looking up at the top of the cliff with an angle of elevation of 75. So where does the 75 degrees go? Yeah, like right here. Like this is our 75 degree angle. And then what else did it say? We're starting 35 meters away from the cliff. So where does the 35 go? That's the bottom. And it was meters. Be careful. Make sure you like pay attention to your units. And then what was the question mark? Like where does X go? How tall is the cliff? So that's going to be that part. So let's step 1, draw these are 3-step problems. Step 1, draw the picture. Step 2, you're going to decide sine, cosine, or tangent. It comes from your SOHCAHTOA with your opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. But if you can't remember, there's only 3, pick one. Okay. And this one will be tangent. Good. So tangent of, and 75, it's always of the angle. And tangent is opposite over adjacent. So that would be X over 35. So that's step 2 is set it up. Step 1, draw the picture. Step 2, set it up. Step 3 is put it in your calculator. So make sure you're in degree mode. And how would we type this one? Yeah, good. You're going to multiply the 35 over. So 35 tangent 75. Do 3 decimal points and put units. Don't just watch everybody else type it because typing it is a skill you need to have. So make sure that you practice typing it. If I don't hear any complaining, I'm going to assume we got that from our calculator. So if you didn't get that, complain loudly so that I know I need to help you. Okay. What's that? Oh, M, yes. I just wrote the whole word so that, because if I only wrote M, you know, somebody would be like, what on earth does that mean? Okay. All right. So let's try number 5. Again, go ahead and draw a right triangle. You guys okay then? Okay. So let's read this one. We're looking out or Jerry is looking out of his window to the sidewalk below, angle of depression of 47. Watch, but don't write this because I don't want you to write this part. His angle of depression of 47 goes right there, but I don't want you to put it there. Do you remember how we talked about how the ground and the sky, I know the earth is round, but in theory, they're parallel. So alternate interior angles, where does that 47 go? Just put it down here. Don't do that. Just don't even bother with it. Okay. That's mathematically what happened, but just put the angle at the bottom. All right. What else do we know? I need some more information. He sees George walking. I made this a Seinfeld question. If anyone like caught that. Oh, really? Jerry's window is on the 5th floor, 50 feet above the ground. So where does the 50 go? Yeah, on the opposite side, like the vertical part. And then what's X? X is along the bottom. How far away is George from the building? So that's step 1, draw the picture. Step 2, sine, cosine, or tangent. Again, it's tangent. Like, unless you have the hypotenuse, it's going to be tangent. So tangent 47, I see some of you reaching for your calculator already, equals 50 over X. Now, because X is in the denominator, how do we have to type that one? Good, you guys have got it. This unit's going to go really well. All right, 50 divided by tangent 47. Did anyone else get 46 point? Okay, thank you. I need you guys to tell me if you got something different. I think this one was feet, wasn't it? Okay. Because I am a human and I do make mistakes. And if you hit one button wrong, it's going to come out wrong. So I need you to tell me if we got something different. Okay. The word problems are honestly like one of the easier parts. Set it up, write sine, cosine, or tangent, type it in your calculator. All right, let's go back and look at number 1. You need this missing side. We have 2 right here. We have 10 right here. Let's go and find the missing side. It'll be Pythagorean theorem. I'm just going to write off to the side here because I actually have some space. A squared plus 2 squared equals 10 squared. Now this one, we're going to reduce the square roots and you can just read the directions. reduce roots if necessary. So we're not going to use the calculator for this one. We're going to actually like deal with our square roots. So 2 squared is 4, 100, or 10 squared is 100. Sorry, I got ahead of myself there. All right, and then what? Yep, minus 4 would be 96. And when you square it, you have to split that. So you can use the calculator to figure out what goes in there. Like, I'm not saying I'm taking the calculator away from you. We just don't want decimals here. But you want to try 96 divided by 36, 96 divided by 25, 96 divided by 9. Do some perfect squares until you get one. I was trying to say ones that wasn't it so that you guys, was it 16 times 6? Okay. I was pretty sure it was 16, so I was trying to give examples of ones that wasn't, so you would try. So it would be 4 square root of 6. So go ahead and write that over there. 4 square root of 6. So we found the missing side, go us. Now you want to label opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. Do you see how theta is right here? Oh, I should have asked though. Did you guys know that theta, the little Easter egg thing, that's a theta? That's your point of view. That's like you are here on the map. So which one is the opposite? Which one's opposite from where we're standing? 2 is your opposite. 10 is the hypotenuse. And that means your 4 square root of 6 is the adjacent. The hardest part of these is reducing everything. And like on here, I wanted this to be a half sheet because I was trying to save paper. On the quiz, I have them set up so that they're next to the correct ones. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, but on here, it's like a little bit jumbled because I was trying to fit it on a half sheet. Okay. So sine is what over what? Good. Now look, that would be 2 over 10, which would be 1/5. Cosecant, which is this CSC, that's cosecant. Remember we talked about how our words and our thoughts and our actions are all connected? That, like my whole speech last time? Okay. Cosecant is the reciprocal. So if you reciprocate 1/5, you get 5. Hey, Ms. Cole, what if I want to write 5 over 1? 100% correct, full credit. Okay, means the same thing. Now let's do cosine. Cosine is what over what? Now I talked you through the other one, but this one has a square root in it, so I'm gonna just write it down right below cosine. It would be 4 square root of 6 over 10. It does reduce, but you can't touch what's inside the root. That part's just gonna stay. Good. The 4/10 will reduce to 2/5. So 2 square root of 6 over 5. Now this one's the reciprocal. Do you remember how we say that one? Secant. Good. This is cosecant and this is secant. You're just going to flip it. So if you flip that, and I'm just going to write it right below secant, it would be 5 over 2 square root of 6, which honestly, like, personally, I feel fine with that answer, but you're not allowed to leave it that way. You can't have a root in the denominator. So you would multiply by square root of 6. And, oh, good. That's usually like pulling teeth, but it went well last time too. I just want to make sure we're all good. Normally it would be 5 square root of 6 over 6, but there's a 2 there. So 6 times 2 is 12. But yeah, that went well last time, and it like mood sounds like we're okay. So 6 times 2 is 12. All right, and then these are the last two. Tangent, and do you remember how to say this one? Good, cotangent. All right, tangent is opposite over adjacent. So again, I'm just gonna write it sort of below here. It would be 2 over 4 square root of 6. Now again, you can't touch what's in the root, but good, 2/4 reduces to 1/2. So it would look like this. And again, you're not allowed to have the root in the denominator. This is the hardest part of them, is reducing the silly things. If you reduce that, or rationalize that, I guess I should say, it would be square root of 6. Now it would normally be 6, but there's a 2 there, so 12. I know that silly 2 that's in there. And then the last one, you're just going to flip that. Let me show you a little, like, not a trick, but just like kind of go back a step. Do you see how tangent was 1 over 2 square root of 6 before we like reduced it? If you flip this, what do you get? Yeah, 2 square root of 6 over 1, which would just be 2 square root of 6, or you can leave it over 1. I don't care. You can leave anything over 1. It means the exact same thing. And if you're like, hey, Miss Cole, if I flip 12 and the square root of 6 here, will I get the same thing? Yes, it'll just be more. Now for these two, we're going to find all the missing stuff. I think we had just found like one thing at a time last time, but we're going to just find it all, okay? Go ahead and flip over so that we have more space. We're going to draw a right triangle. It's actually the exact same thing as the word problems. We're just going to find everything. We're going to find all the missing stuff. Now you're going to be given A's, B's, and C's. Listen, it doesn't matter where A and B go. I'm going to say that again. It doesn't matter where A and B go, but C has to be what? Okay, thank you. Okay, good. It's like pulling teeth. You guys are all with me. That's awesome. So big C, we use the capital letters for the angles and the lowercase letters for the sides. They go across from each other. I call them big C and baby C, just to be silly. So like this would be big A and baby A. This would be big B, baby B. They go across from each other like that. So let's see what we have. We're gonna like put in what we have and then find everything that we're missing. Okay, so what it was given to us in this one. Big B, oh, you're already following me on my silly things I say. Big B, capital B, which is angle B, is 28, and then little a is 8. I already forgot it. I can't remember stuff. B is 28 degrees, and then little a is 8. So that's what we have. We're gonna find everything that we're missing. So I would do the angle first. I think that's the easiest. Do you remember what all the angles add up to? 180. So if you do 180 minus these two, it'll give you the one that's left. Let me again just show you a bit of a shortcut. How much is this worth? That means these two together have to be 90. So if you just do 90 minus 28, it'll give you that one. So 90 minus 28, 62 degrees. So all the angles add up to 180, but if one of them's 90, the other two are 90. All right. Now we're going to need SOHCAHTOA for these other parts. Let's do little b. This is your point of view. It's the one that's labeled. It's you are here. Pretend you're standing there. That means B is the what? Opposite. 8 is adjacent. It's like the word problems, but without the paragraph. Okay. It would be sine, cosine, or tangent. Good. Tangent of 20. Good. 28 equals B over 8. Slam that in the calculator. 3 decimal points. That'll give you B. Again, it's exactly like the word problems, but without the words. It's just A, B, and C. But again, people tend to do better with the word problems than not in this case, because when you have a story, it gives you a frame of reference. When it's just A's, B's, and C's, it's kind of generic. I got 4.253. Okay, sweet. All right, and then the last one is baby C. So again, this is your point of view. 8 is adjacent. C is hypotenuse. So do we want sine, cosine, or tangent? Cosine. 28 equals 8 over baby C. So when what you're looking for is in the denominator, you have to divide. Beautiful. I'll tell you what, I love the second half of this year. Once we like switch over to trig, everything, like it's triangles. From now on, triangles. Everything is triangles. All right, and then last one. So draw yourself a right triangle. And again, it doesn't matter where A and B go, but C has to be the hypotenuse. And they just go across from each other, big A and big B and baby B. So I think we were given 2 of the sides for this one. Yeah, little b is 4.3. And then your hypotenuse is 12. So let's find angle A. Just watch me point to it. You are here. If this is the one you're trying to find, this is your point of view. 12 is the hypotenuse. What is 4.3? So adjacent and hypotenuse means cosine. So cosine, of what? Good. Cosine of A equals 4.3 over 12. Now, how do we type that one? Second cosine. Does anyone remember what it's called? It's cosine. Oh my gosh, you guys are awesome. Inverse. All right, so second cosine, it'll put the little -1 in there. 4.3 divided by 12. And that will give you your angle. Now, don't clear it out because I'm going to show you a little calculator trick for this one too. 69.002. You actually, I'm glad you're remembering that. We actually don't even need to do that. It's actually even easier than that, as long as you don't clear it out. Watch me point to this. A and B should add up to how much? 90. So if you took 90 minus this, you would get the other one, right? But you would have to store it then. Do you remember store alpha A, enter? We did all that. Okay, if you don't even want to store it, just hit, if you leave that sitting on your calculator screen, if you just hit minus 90, because you want to do 90 minus that number, but if you do that number minus 90, it'll still give it to you, just don't put the negative. I'm just trying to save you some work. Do you see what I'm saying? Just subtract 90, it'll give you the other one. Just obviously don't make it negative, like you can't have a negative. Well, actually you can have negative angles. I'm going to teach you that next unit, but we're not there yet, so just hold on. Okay. Yes, 3 decimal point. Just always the first 3 that you see. Oh, I will not take off points if you forget the degree sign, but I do like when you put it because we have sides, we have angles, and it helps you keep them separated in your head that those are angles. Okay. And then how would we get the last side? You have these two sides. How do you get that one? Pythagorean theorem. All right. It'll be a squared plus 4.3 squared equals 12 squared. And we're just going to rely heavily on our calculator. So 4.3 squared is 18.49. 12 squared is 144. This is not going to come down to a root that you're able to split. We're just going to type it in. So a squared equals 125.51. You just subtract that over. And then what's your last step? Square root. So you're going to type in square root of 120. Do you guys know where the square root is? Do you see this button right here that says x squared? The square root's right above it. So you would hit second. Good. So second and then the square. They put things that are inverses on the same button, like ln and e are on the same button. Their inverses, squared and square root, are on the same button. It's important to understand that. It'll help you find stuff. I got 11.203. Yeah. And you can like make sure your answer makes sense. Like if this is around 4-ish, 5-ish, and this is 12, does 11 make sense? Like if you got 79, I hope you would be like, hey, wait, hold on a second. That would be a really weird triangle. Okay, so just like make sure you read, make sure it makes sense.